All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something that's quietly draining the profits from catering businesses, even on events that look like massive successes. And more importantly, we're going to show you how a smart system using data and a bit of AI can flip that script and turn those hitting losses into some seriously impressive returns. Everything starts with this one number, -$900. That's the exact amount of profit that just evaporated from a single perfectly run wedding. And here's the real kicker. The business owner had no clue it was even happening until weeks after the fact, when it was way too late. So let's dig into this story. We'll call it the Martinez wedding. Now, from the outside, this event was a home run. The clients were thrilled, the food was amazing, they got glowing reviews. But under the surface, a completely different financial story was playing out, and the caterer was flying completely blind. Okay, now look at this breakdown. This is where it gets really interesting. The caterer quoted the event at $22 per person for food, so a budget of $3,300. But when all the final bills came in, the actual cost was $28 a head. That little $6 difference doesn't seem like much, right? Well, multiply that by 150 guests, and bam, you've got a $900 black hole right in the middle of your profit margin. And this isn't just a one-off, oh, well, that was a tough event kind of thing. When you start to scale this up, the numbers get scary, fast. That $900 loss on just 4 events a month, which is pretty typical, explodes into more than $43,000 in lost profit over a year. I mean, for a lot of businesses, that is literally the difference between having a great year and having to shut down. So the real question is, why does this keep happening? And I think this quote just nails it. Your standard accounting software, it tells you what happened last month. It's a rearview mirror. It can tell you that you spent too much, but it can't tell you why the Martinez wedding specifically went over budget. What you really need is a GPS, something that guides you in real time. All right, so if the books can't see the problem in time, what's actually causing these losses? Let's pull back the curtain and meet the 5 culprits, the 5 profit killers that are secretly at work in pretty much every catering business. These are the villains of our story. First up, we've got just plain old price volatility. You know how it is. You quote a big event in January and chicken breast is, say, $2.89 a pound, but the wedding isn't till June. By then, your supplier is charging you $4.12 a pound. If your cost estimate is still based on that January price, you've already lost money before a single guest has arrived. Next, you've got the sneaky one called portion creep. Your recipe is perfectly costed for a 6-ounce serving, but in the heat of service, the kitchen staff is plating a little heavy, maybe 7.5 ounces, because it looks a little better on the plate. Who's going to notice, right? Well, that extra 1.5 ounces, over 150 plates, adds up to a surprise $60 expense and just one ingredient. Then there's the one we all know about but don't always track properly, waste. You order 200 pounds of beautiful asparagus, but after you account for spoilage, trimming, only 175 pounds actually make it to a plate. That other 25 pounds is an invisible cost. If you're not tracking it against that specific job, it just gets absorbed into your overall food cost, and you lose sight of it. Number 4 is what we call the substitution cascade. The story's always the same. Your supplier is out of the brie you costed the event for. So on the fly, you have to grab camembert instead, but it's $4 a pound more expensive. You needed 8 pounds. Well, you just created a $32 hidden cost that you're never going to pass on to the client. It just comes right out of your pocket. And finally, there's death by 1,000 cuts. These are all the unallocated costs. We're talking about the good olive oil, the finishing salt, the spices, the butter, all the little things that you have to have. They can easily add up to $200 or $300 for a big event, but since they're rarely tracked per job, they just become a massive blind spot in your profitability. Okay, so that's a lot of bad news. It feels like you're fighting a battle on 5 different fronts. But here's the good news. There is a clear, systematic way to fight back. You can stop the bleeding by building your business on what we call the 3 pillars of control. And here they are. It's not complicated, really. Number 1, accurate recipe costing, knowing your true costs. Number 2, disciplined portion control, making sure you serve what you planned. And number 3, systematic variance analysis, learning from every single mistake and success. This is the whole foundation. So let's talk about pillar 1. Accurate recipe costing is the bedrock of everything. This is not about what your chicken dish cost you last year. It is about knowing, down to the last cent, what it costs to produce that dish today, with today's prices from your vendors. If you don't have this, everything else is just a complete shot in the dark. Pillar 2, disciplined portion control. is all about a mindset shift. This isn't about being cheap or stingy with food. It's about being a professional. It's about consistency. It means using scales, using the right size scoops, and training your team so that the first plate that goes out looks and costs exactly the same as the last plate. That protects your quality and your profit. And finally, Pillar 3 brings it all home: systematic variance analysis. Think of this as the trust but verify step. After every single event, you sit down and compare what you expected to spend with what your invoices say you actually spent. But you don't stop there. You dig in and figure out why. Was it portion creep? Was it a substitution? This is how you get smarter with every event. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds like an absolutely insane amount of work. And you'd be right. Doing all of that manually is why most businesses just don't. But this is where technology, and specifically AI, comes in and turns this whole system from a burden into an actual superpower. I mean, just look at one simple task: processing invoices from your suppliers. Doing it by hand takes, 5 to 8 minutes for each one, and you're probably going to make a mistake on 3 to 5% of them. An AI-powered process does the same job in under 30 seconds, with almost zero errors. That isn't just saving you time, it's feeding your system perfect real-time data. And this is where it gets really incredible. With tools like Claude, you can move past just entering data and start having a conversation with it. Instead of drowning in spreadsheets for hours trying to figure out what went wrong, you can just ask a simple question in plain English and get a full analysis back in seconds. Okay, theory is great, but what does this actually look like when a real company puts it into practice? Let's go back to our case study, a company called Gourmet Catering, and look at the absolutely jaw-dropping results they saw when they implemented this exact system. Look at this chart. Before they started this, Gourmet Catering's food costs were consistently 24% over budget. They were just hemorrhaging money and couldn't see exactly where. After they put these pillars into place, that variance, that leak, dropped to just 1.7%. That is the visual definition of taking control of your business. So, what did that mean for their bottom line? The financial impact is, well, it's almost hard to believe. The return on their investment in this system was, and this is not a typo, 2,540%. Just let that number sink in for a second. So let's break down what a 2,540% ROI actually looks like. For them, it meant they recovered almost $200,000 in profit that was just vanishing before. Their net margin, a key health indicator, jumped from a pretty shaky 8.2% up to a very strong 13.9%. And maybe the craziest part, the whole investment paid for itself in 13 Ds, less than 2 weeks. So all of this really boils down to one final, really important question you should ask yourself. For Gourmet Catering, the invisible data that was breaking their business was food cost variance. So the question for you to think about is, what invisible data, what untracked number, is making or breaking your business right now?